Now here is examples of our finished covers. We've attached our deco paper to our book board, and looking closely at the corner, you can see this mitered corner where the edges come right together and touch and make a nice diagonal line. So we are practicing a craft that has been actively engaged in old bookmaking for years and years and years. And what you'll see with this book is what we're trying to achieve. And we're looking at some really nice, smooth edges. And here again, you'll see that beautiful mitered corner. It just makes everything look super professional. Okay, we're setting up our workspace now, and it's pretty helpful to have a checklist so you know what you need to have. For instance, our first thing is our book board. Notice this book board isn't just plain cardboard, it's very rigid. It should be very strong. It will have glue on it, and it will tend to warp if it is not thick. Next, we're going to get ready for our deco paper. You have your various sheets, and notice this has already been cut at the corners, which we'll do later on. So looking at the cutting mat, you're going to notice that it's bound by rulers. There's measuring lines on the top and the sides, and there's also a center mark. Each one of these has numbers at the top. And next is your X-Acto blade. Remember, it's really sharp, and so when you pull it open, then you want to be really careful not to, oh no. This has probably happened to you, where the knife blade comes out of the holder. We're next blending two materials to make our adhesive. This is PVA, polyvinyl acetate, and I mix it with wheat paste. Here it's mixed and stirred into a fluid consistency. It should be kind of thickish. Can you see that? There we are. It should be thickish, and it'll be easy to apply. You'll see we'll probably use a popsicle stick, not the brush. Here's a piece of scrapbook board. We're going to be using this to measure the space between the board and the deco paper. We'll also be using this metal ruler. You'll notice it is a center finder, so we'll use that for cutting, and our famous popsicle stick for folding the papers. A brush, always a brush, just in case you need it. Okay, so here we are. You've already done this part. That's your deco paper, remember, and you also attached your book board to the deco paper. You were careful to place it in the center, and you were careful to probably use the ruler to make an exact measurement so that we have equal edges on all sides. That's pretty important. There's the 0 mark, center, and I want my board in between. That looks good. Remember the center finding ruler, the measurement will be the same on both edges. The 0's in the center, and there should be an equal distance from paper to bookboard, the edge of the paper to the bookboard. Marking the corners is going to help both measuring our miter cuts as well as reminding where the bookboard is placed. Here's the paste now again, and I'm going to stir it up and make sure that it's pretty smooth and not lumpy. And then I'm ready to apply it to the edges so we can miter the corners. Now on this next sheet, I'm going to show you how the book board is attached to the paper, but it's got this extra edges. It's a little bit too big. We're going to measure it and make certain that the edges are all equal. They should be have 1/2 inch from the edge of the book board. So I'm going to use all of these marks on the green board and measure about 1/2 inch. Not about, I'm measuring exactly 1/2 inch. And preparing to cut with my metal edge ruler. But wait a minute. I'm going to mark it first. So let me use my Sharpie. That looks pretty even all the way around. Now it's going to be time to use that sharp X-Acto blade and cut that excess edge off. Let's rotate so that the ruler is flat on the mat. It will give a sharper edge cut, and the blade won't slip as easily, because if it does slip, it'll slip on my thumb. So I'm going to very lightly begin slicing through this paper. It's a thick paper, it's kind of crunchy. I'm going to do this over and over again until it goes all the way through. I'm not pressing hard, I'm just repeating the cut so that it goes all the way through, and it should be a nice smooth cut. Should be a nice smooth cut, but oh look, there's that little edge I missed. I'm not going to worry about that. It's going to get glued down and no one will see it. So our next step is now to prepare the corners so that we can fold them into nicely mitered corners. This scrap is going to be used as a spacer, and we want an equal distance. That's the thickness of the board. So I'm using it to mark a diagonal across the corner of the paper. And you will see there's a little teeny tiny space between my line and the book board. That's super important. Without that, it doesn't fold correctly. And so let's finish all the other corners. So now we have to cut these little corners off right on the outside edge of that black line that I marked on. We're still trying to make sure we have a little space. Cut all the corners. Ideally, those corners leave 45-degree angles. Let's check. There's just a little teeny tiny space there. That's good. We're using this stick as a bone folder, and we are going to now crease and pre-fold all of the edges so that they fold nicely over top of the book board. We want them tightly attached to the book board, no gaps. Press it really firmly and then use that bone folder right over top to smooth all of the edges down nice and tight. And now we're ready for the adhesive again. We're going to be really careful about application of this adhesive because we want it only on the paper. So spread it onto the paper and the very teeny tiny edge of the bookboard with one stick. After that, we're going to use the clean bone folder to fold back over. We've already done this once. We're going to fold it back over and really smash that down. You'll have some of that adhesive as an excess leaking out. Just wipe it off with your finger and put it on a paper towel, but make certain it is attached really firmly. Smooth it and press it in with the bone folder. I'm using my fingers. I use whatever I have to. And we do opposite sides. So if you do the right side, then do the left side, fold it over, and you're ready to go on to the remaining two sides. Pretty soon you have a beautiful covered bookboard. And look at those mitered corners. Some of them aren't all the way touching, but they should be touching in a nice straight line. If not, maybe you can squish them together. Paper stretches, and it can be forgiving. Those look good. Yep, that's what we want.